It's a City Builders 2024 part number 2. In the last video I finished on the game History City Florence, and now I continue to describe them in the alphabetical order. Enjoy watching it. Today's selection starts with City Builder, in which we are responsible for their rare during the war. Kaiserpunk. As in a similar global strategy game, we have a global map of the world. We can make alliance, attack other country in general to establish our own world order. But the order is possible to establish as long as you have a weak rare. This is where the city building simulator came to the fore. The player task is to create his own city-state from scratch, where every street, factory or building affect what will happen at the front. Build your economic model through complex production chains using 100 different resources from mining, farming, processing and manufacturing, all to benefit the development of your city and state. Even the most advanced army won't last long without supplies. Therefore, smooth and coordinated work of the rare is the key to victory. A very interesting trick in global strategy. It will be possible to check whether it turned out interesting or not already this year. Do you know who the Sherps are? The people who live in the Everest region. When you look at photo on city located at an altitude of 2,000 or 3,000 meters above the sea level, you wonder how and why people build cities there. What difficulty awaited them? Snow avalanches, landscape difficulties, mountain sickness. It seemed that the difficulty knob was turned to maximum. The game Laysara Summit Kingdom allows you to try the role of such a city builder and place your city on the mountain side. Whether it will fall down or not depended on your skill. You will have to build settlements around rock, cliff and caves of many unique mountains. The environment is our main enemy. For example, avalanches threaten to destroy all your hard work in just one snowy swoop. You will need to take precisely to keep your building and citizens safe, such as plenty in forest and dangerous areas. A vital aspect of Laysara Summit Kingdom will be the development of transport networks that can scale vertically and horizontally between different settlements. Judging by the trail, it looks attractive. Giant lifts, ladders and drawbridges connecting mountains and cities. Well, whether you'll be able to adapt or whether the majesty of the mountain will break you, dooming the settlement to die, you can check it out this year. The demo is available for download. Well, we are warm up, so we can start taking nuclear mixes. Manor Lords is a mix of Crusader King style simulation, Age of Empires style city building, and Total War style large-scale battle. Manor Lords puts you in the leather boots of a 14th century ruler who must deal with both bandits' attack and the more behind-the-scenes threat of an outlaw baron trying to seize the power. The environment will respond the same way to your action. Overexploration of natural resources can lead to a loss of sustainability, while careful management of the local area can attract more animal and raise the prices of your most valuable goods. In addition to the day-to-day management of your city administrator, you have to signal laws and conduct diplomacy with your fellow lords, either buttering them up or cutting through subtlety and threatening them. If things go wrong, a real-time Manor Lords battles will ensure. You can use your army to defend your territory or try to seize land from others, and you have to take into account your soldiers, equipment, the weather and terrain, as well as their morale and fatigue. Every soldier lost is a villager lost, so even victory can be very costly. It's an extremely ambitious project that has become one of Steam's most wanted games in 2023. So, leaderboards, are you ready to become the ruler of your own lands? The sign of a Metropolis 1998 game made my old school eye glaze over. It's a simulation game from the 90s. As the player, you will be able to look inside the homes of your citizen using two different camera modes, classic isometric and top-down. As the mayor, you will be able to locate land and designate where specific business can open their door. The game uses modern technology to breathe new life into the pixel art game. The game features a state-of-the-art traffic simulation that can handle over 100,000 people or vehicle at once. A comprehensive simulation of the townspeople. They will go to work, sleep, rest, eat, and more. All in all, if you are a fan of pixel graphic, want to become a mayor, Metropolis 1998 is a great simulator. A demo version is available. The game will be released later this year. New Cycle is a city building simulator with a focus on survival. A series of devastation solar flares has thrown humanity civilization into chaos. Start a new cycle of life from a small settlement and turn it into an industrial metropolis. The unfriendly world prepares you for many challenges: sandstorm, famine, fires and other disasters. Take care of the basic needs of the population. Distribute food, water, tools and clothes, and manage work schedules. Fill life with entertainment and open medical services to care for the health of residents and prevent disease. Each new community member brings you closer to discovering forgotten old world technology. Build a future where you don't have to survive. The game is already in early access. As an empire should, at same point it starts to fall apart. Someone can introduce new laws, simplify the life of citizens, start wars, or walk in the sunset of the empire. The player Nova Roma will go the other way. Together with the settlers, you will go to unknown lands to rebuild Roma anew. Erect dams and aqueducts to divert rivers into a man-made reservation, search for resource-rich location and build infrastructure to transport raw and recycled material across vast undeveloped territory. As for opponent, the familiar set is nature and gods. With nature it's hard to fight, with God temples, prayers, wine and everything in that spirit to establish a contact with them. As a result, Nova Roma offers you to immerse yourself in solving cultural, political and military issue of a large city, taking into account the personality of the landscape, changing weather condition and the constant threat of divine intervention. A quite pleasant graphic, familiar setting and world condition. You can take the fate of a Roman town in your hand and turn it into a prosperous metropolis that will stand the test of time later this year. Where in the last game New Rome was bright, friendly, in the game Pax Augusta it's time to face the reality of Rome. This game is a city builder in which you are in charge of a city in a newly conquered territory. In addition to the usual building, you will build thermae, theaters, gladiator schools, slave markets and more. This is necessary to entertain the inhabitants and provide them with jobs. A very important feature of the game is historical authenticity. Many buildings were recreated in 1:1 scale and today you can visit them as ruins. The main goal is to become the Emperor of Rome. If the city is profitable, you can enter the Senate, which is situated with political intrigue. Of course, you can also provoke intrigue yourself, having enough money and power, so that in the end to achieve your goal. Will you remain a poor city manager forever, or will you become the most powerful man in the world? You can check it out in Pax Augusta. The game is scheduled for release in 2024. Post-Apo Builder. Fan of Borderlands, now you have the opportunity to build your own settlement. The game Post-Apo Builder is a city building simulator. The visual style of the game resembles Borderlands as much as possible. Rubbish is the main goal, because you can find a lot of useful things there. Use parts of old technologies to create machines such as car, weapon and many other. Strengthen your settlement and protect your inhabitants from angry animals, deadly bandits, raiders, wild tribesmen and natural disaster. The game prologue is available, where you can familiarize yourself with the basic mechanic, story and aesthetic of the game. The main version is scheduled for the second quarter of 2024. Travel to the heart of the Caribbean to the golden age of piracy. In this age of opportunity, fearless free roamers seek their fortunes on the high seas. Black sailors, murderers hunt Spanish treasure ships returning from the New World. At the heart of the story of Republic of Pirates is a powerful league of pirate clans bound by a common ideology, ambition and code of honor. But for the Confederation early days were prosperous. Greed and envy soon began to spread among its members, leading to a violent mutiny and the ultimate bloody breakup. Develop a pirate outpost into an expensive settlement by investing in manufacturing building to create a self-sufficient economy. Use the black market to distribute valuable resources and increase the wealth of your pirate citizen. Recruit hero captain and manage a powerful fleet in real time. Liberate island, defeat rebel faction and build complex diplomatic relationship with the world superpowers of the day. Switch on aggressive city builder mode. Loot, destroy, develop and don't borrow your chest of gold in the center. The game will be released this year. Settlements Rising is a medieval colony simulator set in the Middle Age. Collect resources, food by hunting and fishing, import the necessary product and export the surplus, all for the survival of the inhabitants of your village. What is facing us and the easy life in the game is disease, natural disaster, predators and raiders. All in all, a classic. What is interesting, there is a more than 40 profession for your residents, quite an impressive list. At the same time, not every inhabitant can become scholarly science. The maximum level of the profession depends on the IQ of the inhabitant, which is set to him at birth. You can level up a bit through training, but you can't jump above your head. Let's add here a set of random cards which will you given once in a period of time, from which you can choose the one that best suits your needs. For example, increase shoe production by 25% for 4 game year, or increase plant gathering speed by 15% for 5 years. There's plenty of examples of this in general. These cards are intended for one-time use, but you can save them for future games. In each new game you can start with a few of your saved cards. As a result, quite interesting innovation in our favorite city building simulator. Free demo is available. Full version will be released this year. Siege of Irdor, a city builder simulator in the Dark Age. Fantasy collides with reality. During the day you build your marvelous city, and at the night all those monsters that are waiting for you under the bed get out of there and try to destroy everything they get to. Well, not exactly from under the bed, but rather from the portal, which for unknown reasons open it, and from there the shadows come in droves. Perhaps you are the ruler who can not only fight on the shadow, but can also find out why this portal opened here. Who are the shadows, and maybe even close the gap between the world. To do that you need an experienced army, and as we know, only a strong economy can build such an army. Recruits, resources and time are your building block to defeat the shadow. Use swords, bows, crossbows, spiders, armor and of course magic to divide this monster away from your city. The game has no release date yet. I'm sure that you have often wondered what life would be like if it had not appeared on Earth. The game's synergy allows you to answer your question. A group of people have found themselves in a strange, fascinating and cruel world, and your goal is to build a city in which they can survive. Explore, analyze and experiment to lead your population to prosperity. Overall, in terms of city building, everything is pretty standard. The game brims with its atmosphere, very distinctive graphic and interaction with the world, what is worth the possibility to pump up air tanks from airplanes. So, if you're bored with the realistic city builders and you want some gimmick, you will definitely like Synergy. The game is released in the second quarter of 2024. There's a free demo version of the game. Another medieval city builder is a thief, Heavy Lies the Crown. Magic, sword and fire. It seems like everything as usual. We develop the settlement, fight with enemies, loot and burn enemy lands. The game with make a big bet on real-time battles. Your opponents will be both other kingdom and magical creature that just flew by and saw the tasty meat running across the field. This is me about your settlers. The game features an indicator of your rule. Depending on the decision you make, it moves along the path of magnanimity or tyranny. Each choice has its pros and cons. It all depends on your preferences. The game incorporates the mechanic of 4x strategy. At any given time we can go to the global war map to see free citizens, country we can trade or fight with. It's easy enough to go from the global to the local map where battle unfolds. Each session is a battle in a huge space that starts with a small settlement and ends with huge city for several tiles on a global scale. The game supports multiplayer for up to 4 people and it's scheduled for release in 2024. Today in the video we talked about a little bit strange settings, fantasy world, magic, new humanity and now for dessert, so to speak, United Penguin Kingdom, a city building simulator in which you have to build a settlement for penguins, fulfilling their various needs. I wonder what they are, and at the same time confront cunning seals and bloodthirsty killer haulers. I can feel the level of seriously in this mess. We start with a simple village and we can grow to the point where our settlement becomes the largest and eventually we become a penguin king, creating the United Kingdom of Penguins. How to become king? Build a variety of entertainment area for the penguins to have fun, figure skating rinks, moving theaters, play centers, go-kartings, gyms and fight clubs. Don't forget education and cultural facility, providing access to museum, yoga centers and a variety of schools and libraries. Take care of the spiritual well-being of your penguin by building shrines and wishing well. All in all, it's business as usual but with a penguin sauce. The game is already available for purchase, so I think there's nothing stopping you from becoming the ruler of the penguins. Which game you liked or which one you didn't, tell about, write in the comments. If you liked the video, I will be glad to you like and subscribe.